Hello everyone and welcome to the first tournament review for PMTT. I'm joined today by Scott from T3 Wargaming. How you going today, Scott?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm really good. How are you?
Yeah, really good as well. So we've got a tournament review of the first round of the Gauntlet, which Scott managed to take out. Spoiler alert. But before we swing over to him to get a rundown of his list and his games from the day, I've been getting some questions from people about how the overall structure of the series works. So I figured I'd just address them now. So the Gauntlet is going to be 10 events at a range of locations. We've got battle stations here in Toowoomba. We've got Irresistible Force in Logan and Irresistible Force at Burleigh, where we're going to be holding events. Over the course of the tournaments, depending on where you place in the tournaments, you'll get tournament points with bonus points for going undefeated. And then at the end of the year, we're going to tally up all those tournament points, and the top 8 people are going to be invited to a fully streamed, fully recorded, live, full proper coverage knockout tournament where we're going to decide and figure out who is the ultimate champion of the Gauntlet Series. So we're really pumped for that. If you've seen our battle reports that we've done already, it's going to be in a similar format, but we're going to have additional commentary, we're going to have player interviews, we're going to have list reviews, we're going to go all out for this. But round 1 was won by Scott. So Scott, give us a bit of your background on what's your hobby and tabletop experience.
Okay, so I've been in this hobby for around 20 years. I know I don't look it, you know, young and dashing as I am. Uh, but I only really got into competitive AOS recently, in the last like 2 years, and I've just had a thoroughly good time, and so much so that I now work in a hobby store, so I constantly paint and play games, and I try to attend as many tournaments as possible, and I've even started running them now.
So just absolutely going all in, not leaving
I
anything.
am all in on this hobby. I love this hobby to bits, every aspect of it. So I've tried to get as much of it in my system as humanly possible.
And that's it. Like, we love talking to people who, like, I'm obsessed with this hobby, otherwise I wouldn't be doing exactly what we're doing right now.
Yeah,
So, and that's what's great about the hobby is meeting people and making friends who are as obsessed as you at the
yeah.
same thing as you. So you've just instantly got something in common that you'll can talk for hours about. So,
And it is an addiction. It's an
oh yeah,
obsession and an addiction.
yeah.
So, like, if you get talking to me about Warhams, expect to be there for a good couple of hours.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's so easy just to deep dive and just go down the rabbit hole. And you start out really high level. Oh, I like this game or I like this game. And
Yeah.
then half an hour later, you're debating, no, if this rule was changed by 0.1% and then this was tweaked there, that would balance the entire thing. But instead of going down that rabbit hole today,
Yeah.
let's keep moving. What did you take to the first round of the Gauntlet?
Okay, so because it was the first round and I didn't want to overly think, if I'm honest, I decided to take Stormcast because Stormcast are the current hotness in the meta.
Yep.
They're very strong, and I was also out to prove that Fulminators are better than dragons. However, I didn't get to prove that point because no one really brought dragons except me. So
Well, there was one other dragon player, but he wasn't running Stormcast. He was playing Seraphon. So
yeah, which
Simon,
fair enough.
yeah, with his synthwave dragons or synth cast, I believe he's calling them. So
Okay. Well, so in my list, I had I forgot his name. Big guy on the old dragon.
Stardrake,
Stardrake. That
Lord
was it.
Celestin on
Lord
Stardrake.
Celestin on Stardrake with the mirror shield. He was my general, which allowed me to take the Unit 2 Stormdrake Guard as battle line.
Yep.
I was in Hammers of Sigmar Stormkeep because I am very much of the mind that Stormkeep is better than Scions just for holding objectives.
Yep.
I took a unit of 4 Fulminators, a unit of 2 Fulminators, 2 units of 5 Vindictors, and a Lord Relictor with Translocate.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I didn't have Vanguard Raptors.
Yeah. So you're more kind of melee focused, hitting hard with the Stormdrake and Fulminators, and
the way I built my list is it's melee focused with the idea of grabbing objectives.
Yeah.
Because if a unit of Vindictors dies, I can use Call for Aid to bring them back. And my army just doesn't go anywhere quickly.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
I am able to just hold out and, resist whatever my opponent can throw at me. So if I am facing Vanguard Raptors, yes, they might kill a dragon with their, or if they get lucky, kill like a couple of Fulminators. But at the end of the day, my army's still got enough like bodies to grab objectives, because people very much underestimate the Vindictors in that list, and then it's the Vindictors that win me the games.
Yeah, because there's just everyone's focused on the Stormdrake and the Fulminators, and your Vindictors are just sitting back, just racking up points.
Yeah. I mean, I specifically took the Stormdrake Guard because they're new and because everyone's afraid of them currently, that they would be the focus. But if I lose that unit of Stormdrake Guard, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, they're not doing a massive amount in the game anyway, and they didn't over the entire weekend.
Yeah. Well, it's even just that mental game of you've got where people's targets are going to be. They're going to be looking at those Stormdrake Guard.
Yes.
So,
and that gave me an advantage because it was very much like, ooh, look over here at the dragons, and then smash in the face with the Fulminators on the other side that have just teleported to the other side of the board because of the Lord Relictor.
Yeah. So, first round, you got matched up against Jonathan with his IDK. How'd that game go?
I did. So, Jonathan, as far as I'm aware, is relatively new to tournaments. And the way I like to play those games is I will never do a gotcha moment.
Yeah.
If I can. So I very much explained how my list worked to him and then helped him with his rules, because my partner Nicole used to play F, so I had a very good understanding of how they worked. At the end of the day, he only lost that game because of his own mistakes. Like, he went for Slay the Warlord on a Star Drake with 18 wounds that I was able to give Finest Hour, all out defense, and he couldn't shoot me, which I reminded him of before he picked the battle tactic, because I was very much like, are you sure? Are you really sure? And he was like, yeah, I want to do it. I was like, cool. On your way then.
Yeah.
Good luck.
That's a tough call at the best of times. So
yeah, it was very, very tough. He could have won that game because he very much went for the middle. It was Apex Predators.
Yep.
He went into the middle. If he decided to go left instead of right, as it were, as it lined up, he probably would have won that game if he'd sent the Leviathan into my unit of 4 Fulminators that was set out in the open. Unfortunately, he didn't, and so those 4 Fulminators just swept across the board and took out most of his army.
Yeah.
And I think by the end of turn 3, he had a unit of Reavers left.
Yeah,
it was a bit unfortunate for him, but a solid victory for me.
Yeah, and that's like, there's always going to be new people in the hobby, and like it's kind of our second job as people who are more experienced to help them, and we want more people who are as obsessed as we are about these games and these hobbies, because that's just more people to play games with, it's more people to talk with, you grow the community, they bring their friends, and then it just kind of snowballs. But at a tournament, you're there to play, you're there to play hard, you're there to win it. It's like you said, like, you help them out, you make sure there's no gotcha moments, you make sure you're reminding them of your rules that they might have forgotten. But at the end of the day, it is a competitive game, so there is a winner and a loser in most games. So
I'm always of the mind that I want to win fairly. I don't want to take home a trophy if I didn't earn it. So I always want to make sure that when my opponent does something and I think it's a bit confusing, or I think they've forgotten something, I'd rather remind them and just be like, don't forget, this guy can do this.
Yeah, just remember, I can do this, or I've done this, or remember I've got my buff here, or...
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure all of my opponents forgot about the mirror shield.
Yeah.
And it was like, don't forget, you can't shoot this guy if you're outside of 9.
Yeah, so, that is such a good artifact, so...
Yeah.
So, you're going up game 1. In game 2, you came across the mirror matchup, and you played another Stormcast player, Paul, with his Stormcast. How did that one go?
I did, and I was pretty worried about this because he had 4 fulminators as well,
Trying to
and
beat you at your own game.
he brought some judicators, so he
Yeah.
outranged me as well. I was very worried, and we were both one drop, and he won the roll.
Ooh, that's not great for you.
No, I was very worried at that point because I was like, oh no, I really needed that roll. So we set up as usual, and he took first turn,
Okay.
and that confused me because there was no need for him to take first turn. Like him getting the double would have been trouble for me. Would have been a lot of trouble for me.
Yeah.
But he decided to take the first turn. I think his idea was he wanted to get the Judicators to shoot my Fulminators early.
Yeah. So just get that chip
And
damage into
yeah,
them, so that when the lines hit, he's just that couple of wounds ahead. So
yeah. So he took the turn. He moved up to the middle of the board. Again, I think this was a mistake on his part, probably a newish player as well.
yeah.
Yeah, he came within my charge ranges. And then he shot his Judicators into my Fulminators, managed to kill one.
Well, that's good.
The issue being when it came to my turn, I rallied and got a 6
Oh,
and got the Fulminator
don't say that. Don't.
back.
We're trying to grow the hobby and get more people into it, but then when you bring in models back, especially if it's a single model, that's just yeah. But that's the game. So
Yeah. And then I pushed up. My Fulminators made the charge into his unit of 10 Vindictors. My unit of 2 Fulminators and my Stormdrake Guard got the charge into his Fulminators, which immediately neuters them from 3 damage to 1, which is fantastic.
yeah, that's huge.
Which is huge. It allowed me to keep my Vindictors back and just hold my objectives and then I just wiped out his Vindictors immediately with the 4 Fulmies.
Yeah.
His Fulminators fought back, didn't do a massive amount, and then I just gradually throughout the game took out his Fulminators and just encroached on the board.
Yeah.
I believe that one was Feral Foray,
Yeah.
and he at the end of and then I got the double,
Yeah. Yeah.
which immediately allowed my Fulminators to then push into his Judicators and take them off the board.
Yeah, and that type of game where it is very grindy, it's like it's fairly relatively even, but like one player's just getting ahead, and then if that player gets the double, that's usually the final nail in the coffin in a lot of games as well.
Yeah, because I managed to get my charges off with my Fulminators, that just sealed the deal.
Yeah.
Just putting in all those attacks with that much high damage, he did not have a lot left. I think he had Bastion, his Lord Relictor, and a Knight Incanter.
Yeah.
And that was it. That's all he had left by the end, by the start of turn 3, I want to say.
Yeah, and that's it. You've gone for the kill. Like you said, you were playing, like you designed the list to take and hold objectives.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to take and hold objectives if there's no enemy on the table. So
yeah, his massive mistake that game was taking the turn.
yeah.
He should have given it to me because there's no way I could have got to him and done enough damage to stop him.
Yeah, and then hopefully get the double, or at least still he'd be able to do similar to what he already did. So
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
So that's 2 up. What about your third game against Jacob and Legion of the First Prince?
Yeah, so I think Jacob, Paul, and Jonathan are all friends.
Yes.
And they normally all play in a group, so the fact that I got to play all 3 of them
would have been an interesting conversation for their drive home.
Yeah, so Jacob, it seems, was maybe the better of the 3 players. I'm not sure. He had a beautifully painted army.
Oh, it was gorgeous.
And I hate Legion. I hate Legion and I hate Zinch. There's just so many pink horrors they do in the head in. And the fact that you just summon more throughout the game is such a problem. But I actually took first turn in this one.
Okay.
And my idea is he'd put Be'lakor out.
Yep.
I don't know if he'd done that on purpose, but I was going to take the bait anyway. And so I did something you normally wouldn't do. in a tournament, and that is I teleported my 4 Fulminators out and immediately went for the Alpha Strike.
Yep.
They got their 10-inch charge, went straight into Be'lakor, and by the end of it, Be'lakor had taken 11 wounds, and most of the unit of Pink Horrors was now dead from the pass off.
That's a big, big play. And
Yeah.
that's huge for that game.
Yeah. It was a massive play, and he was very lucky to have Be'lakor alive at the end of that, because he decided not to Be'lakor anything round 1. Which, if you come up against Legion, I think you should always take first turn, because then you're not at risk of getting
alpha
double,
and losing
the
him.
double Be'lakor.
Yeah.
Is what I would worry about, is the double Be'lakor. You don't want 2 turns of something not being able to do anything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because that debuff is huge. Even just the fact that it's random, you've always just got that hope that, oh, there's a chance this guy can do what I... Oh, no, he can't. Oh, but there's a chance.
And the thing with Legion is they don't actually put up that much damage, so the double turn from Legion is not that bad.
Yeah.
Compared to other armies. Anyway, I went in, I didn't kill Be'lakor, but I did a lot of damage, and then he came back with his turn 1 and decided to go for Broken Ranks on the unit of 4 Fulmies. But he decided to retreat Be'lakor out.
That's interesting. I suppose he's just really worried about keeping him alive at that point. You probably just scared him and shocked him, and he's just not got to get out of there.
Yeah. So he sent in his Contorted Epitome with the artifact and flaming weapon to try and wipe them out, which, it's a good play. It's a good, strong play.
Yep.
He also sent in another unit of pinks, his Demon Prince, to try and get rid of this unit. But unfortunately, there was one Fulminator with 1 wound.
Oh, that's always just so devastating, just to fall just short. Like, you almost want to fail horribly and just be like, oh, I never had a chance. But to just not be able to get it is always devastating.
Yeah. So that immediately put him on the back foot, points wise, because he hadn't killed that unit. And then I believe I gave him the next turn, because it was like I was in such a position that it really didn't matter if he got the double. And then he spent the rest of the game just trying to play cagey.
Yep.
And I think what it came down to is I won the priority for turn 3, and I gave it away again so that I could burn one of his objectives. Or was this one Feral Foray? Yeah, this was
Feral Foray, yeah.
This was Feral Foray. And so burning one of his objectives immediately meant that I held more.
Yeah.
So it forced him to come to me.
Yep.
And it was here that he Be'lakored my dragons as well.
Yep, the bait dragons.
And my dragons, unfortunately, Be'lakor just wasn't doing right. Like, he rolled his... he failed to roll his 3 up for the hero phase.
Yep, so they got their move.
They moved and then charged.
Yep.
And then he Be'lakored me for the movement phase, shooting phase, and charge phase, and then failed to Be'lakor me in the combat phase.
Oh.
Which meant that the dragons could fight.
Yeah, that's like... But that's it. That's Be'lakor. There's that hope, and there's that chance that it's not going to work, so...
Exactly, and I just spent the rest of the game. And the heroes for me this game were my Vindictors, who he just could not get rid of.
Yep.
And were just he threw everything at this one objective, but because I had essentially 15 models on this objective from the one unit of Vindictors, he just could not get through and take it from me.
Yeah.
And I just held up his horrors, and he could not make a 9-inch charge with his horrors.
Yeah. And that just justifies, like, it really hammers home what you were saying before, where they're just there to hold objectives, and the Storm Keep, them counting as 3 models, is huge.
Yeah. And the way I played it as well is if I had a unit in combat with horrors, unless I wanted to kill that unit, I was attacking anything else they were engaged with.
Yeah. So
because they've got a 2-inch reach, so you can do that most of the time. And I would just pile in such a way that I could attack something else, because then the horrors are just 5 models.
Yeah. Yeah, just leaving them before they split out into their 20 20
Exactly.
brimstone ones. So, yeah, well, it sounds like it was a really good game. So,
It
three
was.
wins. 3 wins out of 3 is always a good result at a tournament,
Yes.
especially a Gauntlet Series event, because you actually get a bonus 5 overall points for going undefeated at an event.
Cool.
So there was 10 players at that event, which was a little bit low, but it's COVID at the moment, so we're always going to get drops. At one stage, we had 30 players lined up, and
Yeah.
then people just started dropping due to close contacts. And I said it on the day, like, I would much prefer to have an event with 10 players than to have someone go, oh, I should stay home, but I'll go anyway. So a big shout out to the community for doing the right thing and isolating. So we are reviewing some of the other parts of the series about whether or not we can make it a little bit more accessible for the people who miss an event, because currently Scott is in first place on 15 tournament points, so he gets his 5 bonus ones, and there was 10 players and he came first, so he gets his 10 points, so he's on the 15.
Whoop, whoop.
So congratulations, Scott. Is currently a shoe-in for the finals, but given that there was only 10 players, only 2 people are missing out on the finals so far, but we'll see if we get some new people coming to the next round, and then we'll start seeing that field spread quite a bit as well. So I'm also keen to see some new faces, because every new face that we see at a tournament is someone who's in with a chance to win our massive random door prize, which is a fully painted 2,000 point army. So if you come to one event, you get your name in the draw once. If you come to 10 events, you get your name in the draw 10 times. So what we're trying to do is just promote people just getting out there and just playing games. I've never been a fan of people in other games who they only come out for the big events. They're excellent players, often quite nice people, but they just come out, smash face, and then go and hibernate again. So, whereas I love to see people every time. So we're running monthly events. I want to see Scott every single month. I don't necessarily want to have this conversation with him every month, but hopefully someone else wins. But it's awesome just to catch up with people as well. So, so what were your overall thoughts of the tournament? What did you like or didn't like about it?
As we said, there was only 10 people, but it was a nice little one-dayer. And it was nice because there were a lot of people that I had no idea who they were. And that's always nice at an event, because like it's always fun to face someone new because you have no idea what you're going into.
Yeah.
And I got to play 3 people I'd never played before.
Yeah, that's a successful event in my books.
Yeah,
so.
super successful. And I'm going to be using the Gauntlet Series as my little test run, because my challenge I've set myself for this year is to, at some point, come to one of them with a Daughters of Cain list without Marathi.
Ooh, that will be interesting. So
yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how you go with that. So maybe hold that off till the end or use it early, because you don't want to get to like the last couple of tournaments and be like, oh, I just need those extra couple of points. I need to bring that hyper competitive. Oh, but I've committed to not using Marathi. So
yeah. Well, it should be fun, and it's a nice challenge. So that's the way I'm gonna work it.
Yeah, excellent. So, so Scott obviously came first. He went undefeated. Scott is a fantastic player. I've played him a couple of times, and they're always really good, close, fun games.
I'm all right.
In second place, we had Simon with his Seraphon.
Yeah.
Third place, we had Nicole. She was running Daughters.
Yes.
Best Sports was Nathan.
Yep.
And then Best Painted was Jacob with his Legions of the First Prince. So one other thing we're doing for the Gauntlet Series is each person can only win Best Painted once. Just to try and encourage people that you might often come second or third in the community votes for painting. You're still an excellent painter, but there's just someone they've just got that colour scheme nailed down, or they've just got the models that just look a little bit better.
Yeah.
They can only win it once. So at the end, we're going to have a massive community vote to see what everyone thinks is the best painted army from the entire series.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah, so the next event, the one Scott is gunning for again to defend his crown, is February 13th up here at Battle Stations in Toowoomba again. Make sure you check out the event on Facebook and sign up on Down Under Pairings, and the players pack's available on both. Before we wrap up, Scott, is there any shout outs or that you would like to roll out?
Yeah, so I just want to shout out my own channel, obviously T3 Wargaming, and I just want to, if you can come check it out, and please, we run battle reports every week, so please come check us out, and that'd be great.
Yep. The link for Scott's channel is down in the description below, and I can wholeheartedly recommend you go check it out. I've seen a couple of his battle reports, and they're great just to have on in the background while you're smashing out some hobby. So, apart from that, check us out on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We don't like Twitter, so focus on Facebook and YouTube. But I'll see all you guys at the next event.
Yeah, thank you.
Until next time.
Thank you.